Going through this case of books for younger readers, which is something I've really only just begun doing. 3 videos in, it's probably going to be 50. Maybe 20. It's going to be a number. It's made me go through all the books. I decided to make a comic and graphic novel section, presided over by Sweet Pea. Got that little kitten face. So cute. But here's the section. So that took it out of the kids' area because there's a mix. I think anyone now, my daughter is 12, could read any of these. So yeah, I made the nonfiction sections here denser. Stacked book combos. Look at that, you couldn't fit another book in that space. That one also got denser. Ditto. That's cool. I'll do some videos for the graphic novel section sometime now. These were just woven throughout art crit, lit crit, fiction, young readers, nonfiction. There were a number of chapter books in the closet, and they all got brought in to the kids' bookcase here. It's getting pretty dense. It's getting that like puzzle look that I like. I have a stack of like teen hygiene and beauty books up here that my daughters might still read. That's when the booklets drawer got a lot more robust. Definitely look at that sometime. I might do like 4 videos on booklets because there's a Southwest booklets section, an oversized art booklet section, a lit section, and a New Mexico section. There's a bunch of booklets. Do they have anything in common? Ideas presented concisely, being zine adjacent. The collection is just always evolving. When you move things around, everything gets moved. New Mexico books still to be looked at. New Mexico books still to be looked at. Ugh, rent approaching. Kitties, how are you so cute? Comic Savage, I love it. Science has gotten a little denser. Flatland over to sci-fi. And Fahrenheit 451. Nice edition. That was in the kids section. What was this? I have a trade size paperback of this. I really kind of think it should go in the paperback project. Dracula could go in this section. So could Dr. Jekyll. Flatland, I feel like definitely should. But then what do I take out of the paperback project? I think I can say these are genre. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and Dracula. I mean, I love genre. Genre is literature. This just kind of offers an interesting perspective for all of literature, and I think that makes it a good selection for the project. Yeah, like the Eden Cycle, that's good enough to be considered part of any literary conversation. Bring over some more Vonnegut. Cat's Cradle, anyway. Ursula K. Le Guin. Clockwork Orange, I think that's kind of literary. I love this weird edition. Pretty fresh, minimalist idea, but I wonder if this is designer Paul Bacon, who I've seen elsewhere in the project. I think Neuromancer is literature. H.G. Wells, I mean, whoa. Martian Chronicles, brilliant. In the Spirit of the Canterbury Tales. Cameron, but really more than that because it's all like this history. Sherlock Holmes is over there at one point, but it really is kind of outside of literary in some ways in how it resists analysis in the same way as literature. I mean, you can do it, but you've got to like work in all these different angles. Historical. It doesn't feel like the author has put literary meaning layered into it, and that's always there, but so that means it's only there on like an unconscious, subtle level. They do feel written as pulp. There's a lot being said about colonization and so on. Watson was in the Second Afghan War. I mean, Sherlock's addicted to morphine. Opium. This book sure affected me like high literature. I love this book. I've heard her called the anti-Lovecraft, and I love that. I think that's exactly it. She's all, there's something huge. But it's not bad. Sci-fi really is its own thing. I mean, I got such enjoyment out of this and thought about it so much. Like, so is that literature? Yeah, though, Flatland, I want to see if I can find a place for this in the paperback project. Oh, and check this out. Let me show you something. Previously, my daughter, I had books all the way from one end of this closet to the other. And my daughter recently was like, can you not do that? Can we get another case or something? So I figured out an alternate solution. I cleared up a shelf in this hall closet. Now that's where all the children's picture books are. And I got rid of a bunch of board books. I'm gonna take them somewhere. And some doubles. Oh, one of the cats is talking to a bird. And yeah, this is just like a utility closet otherwise. Books everywhere. Because it's just younger than all the kids in the house, and yet they're all like sentimentally attached to them, so I'm like, well, I'll keep them as part of the collection then. But it's nice that they reduced to just one shelf like that. Got some origami and how to draw books and put them into, and some uncopyrighted image books that had been in the kids section before, and put them out into the art crit lit crit section, which is just kind of a general art world melee collage. Now there's no books left in what will be Annette's room. Today in a movie I was watching on Tubi, I heard this term about books foxing. Apparently foxing is like discolored spots that can happen from iron that's gotten into the paper oxidizing, or from bacterial reasons. Foxing. So book dealers might talk about wear, condition, foxing, what other stuff? I should learn that stuff. Squirrel, you represent the concept of cuteness with honor. You're so pretty. This is getting to be a really refined collection now. And I'm like, I want it all to stay. It's part of what I want to read, and also want to reflect the array of books available to me. You think about bringing the Sea of Grass over from the antique case too. It'd be nice to have one old one in there. It's like a 1940 paperback or something. Keep talking to the birds, don't let me interrupt. Whoa, even older, 1937. No, I'll leave this in the antique case. I also like that cover being displayed. People who watch this channel are probably like, we don't care what section you put things in. I don't know. I think, have you all heard of Norwegian slow TV? It's where like they'll film a bonfire for 15 hours and you'll just hear people talking around it. That's the show. Or it's a view out of train for 20 hours or days and days, or from a boat. This channel really is helping me refine my collection and kind of shape it into something interesting. I realize I'm approaching my shelves now the same way I'm approaching my book, where I'm always trying to fit more in without expanding the scope. For those of you all new to the channel, and there's a few I see, I've been working on a 2-volume experimentalist maximalist autobiography for 15 years now, and I'm almost done with book 1. What's the title? Shadows of Clouds on the Mountains. Book 1 of 2 by Michael Farrell Smith. Okay, so this is great to include. I also think it's early 1900s, which is cool. Where's it gonna go in this case? I don't want the shelves to be like packed so tight that it damages the books or makes things hard to get out and more likely to tear. Also makes a bookshelf less friendly, you know, if it's like packed too tight, you know. Like you want to be able to get a book out when you want. The way this case is organized is books where the author is represented by only one title, and then books where the author has more than one title, and then books where it's only one title, and then books where it's more than one title, and then books where it's individual titles. So it alternates. And I think that will allow for a good balance in this project, from like with some real deep dives into authors, whereas others it's just like you read one book from them. Even so, a book could be as big as all that, you know? And a Karenina. No, I got 3 from Tolstoy. I love The Death of Ivan Ilyich. I read that so many times. Makes anytime I bump my head or something, I'm like, well, I'm gonna die, like Ivan Ilyich. That means there's only there's 3 shelves I can maybe find a place for this on, and what's gonna go? Doesn't always mean getting rid of a book, though it sometimes does, if I can't think of a better section for it. But I've just refined this all now so much that it's getting like balanced out. A little wiggle room for half of this shelf here, where I have books grouped by groupings. They're still together, but about half of this is like that. I have all these Greek plays and all these short story collections. And then there's 2 about the Fitzgeralds, 2 involving Faust, 2 involving Uncle Tom, 2 involving Hamlet. I had to put a Shakespeare play in here. I'm like, I can't. You gotta have a Shakespeare. But I boiled it down to 1, and I picked this one because I already had Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, which is a tie-in. Tom Stoppard. I will say, I suspect that The Moviegoer could end up being one of the books on this case I like the least, because I tried to read another book by this guy, and I was like, I found it unbearable. I love the idea of this book. Walker Percy. Yeah, he wrote this other book that was like how everything works, and it's like this cheeky description of the universe. I didn't find it particularly good, the other one, but his character's name is Binks Balling. You could name your character anything. Our sensibilities might be very different, but he won the National Book Award. And I am a moviegoer. I love going to the movies. I'd be sad if all the theaters went away. There's a thread of going to movies throughout my whole life. From the Care Bears movie as a little tiny kid to the last thing I saw was How to Train Your Dragon live action remake. So 2 movies that probably aren't that good. In between, there were a lot of good movies. I keep it though. It's an 80s paperback. Boy, was this style everywhere. Memphis School adjacent. Like those early 80s. This is the cover series I was looking for. Vintage Contemporaries. Cover design by Lorraine Louis? Yeah, she was like the main person who designed this aesthetic. It's so 80s. Here I'm like, well, I've never actually heard of this writer. But then I see the marvelous stories that place their author among the greatest writers of our time. Okay, well, she wrote that, right? Authors often write their back cover content. Makes some back covers sound deranged with ego once you know that. I thought about taking this one out because it's a volume 3. But I'm like, it looks like it stands alone. And what other classic Chinese works do I have to represent? You Can Stay. This one's going to be pulpy, but I know it's like kind of important in American history. And it's kind of important in lit. It's like nothing I want to get rid of. This one is probably going to be a little pulpy, but it's all over Mike Davis's book City of Quartz, and I would like to have read it. I need to read some Charles Dickens as an adult. All of these are important for different reasons. This is pulpy, this is noir, but it's LA and I want to read it. Washington Irving, first American to make a living as an author. I think that's so cool. I'm trading out The Moviegoer. Okay, I got them all in there. It's just a little more tightly packed than it was before. I can live with it. Project continues. Today I tried stacking some things in the interim parts, thinking I could fill those horizontally, you know. Put another 10 books on here, bring the list to 200. But I didn't like how it looked. So I think I'm going to keep it at this for now. The Paperback Project. The core mission of the channel is to read all the books of this case. Most of you know. Here I am halfway through the Canterbury Tales in prose. I've read all these books here. These. I'm rereading The Secret Share from this. I read this one too. I'm rereading The Secret Share every month, all 2025. Plumbing the depths of it, really getting to know it, reading stuff about it. Pretty much read everything on JSTOR on Conrad about this especially. When a case is this tight, I typically will take out the thinnest volume with the wiggle test, you know. See if I can find another spot for this one. Okay, I'm gonna lose my mind in this project. We'll beam a positive thought directly to our viewers. Thank you. This still makes me laugh. The secret kids' books in the hall closet. As I move through this case, the next thing I wanted to look at is this interesting stack of nonfiction, strange but true books for young people. That's a specific thing. It's funny to put it in the middle of Anne of Green Gables books. Add this one into the discussion too, though it's a different size. I have a weird books section. Should these all go in the weird books section? Well, we'll think about it. I guess the reason I would want these in the kids section is because I've always wanted some of my kids to read them. This is the kind of stuff I used to read all the time as a kid. And I loved a Time Life or a Reader's Digest or a National Geographic anthology or collection. Nerd alert. I would get into a comfy chair with a cat of yore. Oops, almost as cute as this one. This one. I think there's that one. And I'd break out like this and just read the whole thing. Love this one too. Let's see what we got here. Love a trade size paperback. Look how neat. Compact. Weird stories from real life. A phone just levitating in a payphone. That's a good cover image. A bit of personal lore is when I was a kid, I briefly had a Nolan Ryan rookie baseball card that the person who gave it to me said might be worth a lot of money. And I later looked it up and it was. And I put it for safekeeping in some book that I owned at the time. So even now, so many years later, decades later, when I encounter books from my youth, I'm always like, give it that extra flip. And why did I love stuff like this so much as a kid? When I later took the Myers-Briggs test, it said I had a fascination with the profane. And it is true, I'm always drawn to stories of the fringes and all that stuff. I feel like not in an unhealthy way, generally. I remember this one. I remember reading this one quite a bit. It's got a lot about intuition. Classic Ripley's, believe it or not, 21st series. Look how old. It's just black and white reprints of the Sunday comic version of these, believe it or not, facts. Irrelevant. Yeah, Ripley's, believe it or not, that should definitely be in weird books, probably, right? Well, never put on his hat in winter or summer without first filling it to the brim with ice cold water. Interesting. The opossum has not changed in 70 million years. Believe it or not. This one looks cool too. Unsolved famous real life mysteries. I bet there's tons of these. I bet if you really made this the thing that you collected, you could have a bookcase full of this kind of little book. I remember some others from my youth. Strange Encounters, Tales the Unexplained. A hawk landing on a grave. It's a pretty good cover, actually. As good as this one. Oh, should be displayed. Famous Mysteries of the Sea, 60 cents. Look at that. I want this book as a t-shirt, and the t-shirt should be the color of this blue. Whoa. But all these are pretty much the ones I grew up with. Strangely enough. And I don't know that any of my kids ever read any of them. This one I think I picked up later, but Great Unsolved Crimes. Oh, D.B. Cooper, Lizzie Borden. No. Wow, what a great review, Mike. Hey, these books exist. About weird stuff or whatever. Kids like it. It's a cool one of strange but true sea stories. Bigger, but still cool. I think for now I'll keep these in the books for younger readers section. my kids will read one of them someday. These are from Scholastic. These probably would have been like book fair books. That one could use some taping. Yeah, if you know, my book collection is an interesting one to me because it's not like a collector's collection, but it's more than just a reader's collection too, because I do care about the aesthetics of them all. I kind of do feel like in this day and age, maintaining a book collection is like, you know, kind of a value to the world a little bit. Community value. I'm always giving books away. Rights are always being eroded. You know, just have a repository. It's a cave full of scrolls, you know, from back in the day. My friend's bookstore flooded in Cambridge back in the year 2000, and all those books were destroyed. I remember thinking, that like just is a loss for this little community here that buys books here. Okay. So those were some weird books. We're working our way through these shelves. I'll do another video on random one-offs, Anne of Green Gables, the Oz books. I need to look at these books about teenage beauty and hygiene that my daughters have. We'll glance at them. We'll just interview Sammy the Crow, who remembered about what he remembers of them, which is as good as looking at the actual thing because he's got an amazing memory. Yeah, we'll finish off this shelf and anything else up here that got added. And I say 3 videos maybe? 4, because I have to do a whole video on the tripod trilogy. That's just my favorite. And after that, then we'll do like just fairy tale centric videos for like I did with the Lake Powell Glen Canyon section. All fairy tales. Because I'm friends with Chris from Liminal Spaces, I know he's also really interested in folk and fairy tales. I bet he could do, I think he mentioned the possibility of doing another channel and that sort of thing someday. And I, for one, would welcome it. Liminal Spaces is a great sci-fi book channel. Sci-fi, horror, fantasy, all that biz. Some highlight. Okay, well, thank you all for watching the channel. Wish we had more interactions in the comments, yes. Do I wish sometimes when I checked my PayPal there was money there? That would be so cool. I'd appreciate it. However, also appreciate every view. All you weirdos that fall asleep listening to me talk about books. Or jog while listening to it. Probably some of you listen to it sped up. That's crazy. Alright. Look at these sometime after looking at the orange case. Children's books are literature, you know? Different sort. Genre is literature. I honestly think everything can be literature. In the Venn diagram of human literature, anything written, including graffiti, including stuff on signs, blowing down the street on trash, scribbled on binders and desks, included in paintings, printed on newspapers, blowing down the street. I love it. Next, I think I'll look at the Oz books. Got this and 2 other sections that we'll be donating to that. L. Frank Baum's Oz books, not Ruth Plumley Thompson's. No, thank you. So her idea for Scarecrow was interesting. This has been Weird Books about weird, but theoretically non-fiction stuff. Weird books for young people. Weird non-fiction books for young people. Maybe they will be added to you. Okay, yeah, next Oz, then Anne of Green Gables, then miscellaneous books for younger readers. Then we'll get into the fairy tales in another section of sorts, subsection. Anyway, well, glad to know you all are out there, those of you that are out there. We have like 529 followers on this channel right now. I'm not sure how many of those are active, but cool. All right, take care, everybody.